Hello.
Hello, darling.
Oh yeah, how are you?
Fans back.
How do we manage to do this on like the hottest days of the year? I don't understand what's happening there.
Is this moisturiser or sweat? You get
Bit of both. Isn't sweat the best moisturiser?
I'd love to say I'm glowing. I'm not glowing.
To glow, would you say? I've been listening to a book today. I went up to Cardiff to see my friend, which is like 2 hours worth of driving there and back. And I was listening on Audible, a book. What's it called? I'm going to bring it up. 11. It's a feminist book. What's it called? Difficult Women. A History of Feminism in 11 Fights by Helen Lewis. It's brilliant. I'm just going to make sure that it is on silent. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. Right. Yes. So, and it's got me thinking of feminism again. I'm always trying to get up on feminism. And yeah, to glow, like men wouldn't glow, would they? Only women glow. But it's still sweat, isn't it? So do you think glowing is a sexist term?
Well, you've got post-coital glow.
Right. Do men glow?
You've got pregnancy glow.
Yeah.
And it used to say that, you know, gentrified women, you know, the ladies don't sweat, they glow. And I can't work out whether, if it's not a feminist thing, I think it was a classist thing.
Oh.
I'd say that a lady can feel the heat and glow, but somebody common in the fields would sweat.
Ah, interesting. Why am I hearing that again? Not myself. I'll turn my volume down. Maybe it's that. Right.
Because I mean, that's that thing of wearing arsenic, wasn't it? Like a tan was synonymous with working out in the fields. Therefore, people with tans were common.
I'm common then. Look at that
before, tan. And that predates racism. That's before different people were even seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a case of, you know, I'd rather put a poison on my face and kill myself slowly so my teeth fall out than look like I know how to raise my hand in toil.
Those Victorians knew how to live, didn't they?
Yeah, you know, you know, put some snuff so your teeth rot. Take opiates for everything, and dab yourself with arsenic. Throw a bit of laudanum in for a party, and you're having a great time. I mean, boots were
live till like 50, probably.
No,
don't fact check me. Just take it. Decide that I'm right.
I've decided I'm right.
So how are you? It's been a shit couple of weeks, isn't it?
We're going to address it.
You want to? I think we should, but we don't have to say too much.
No, but Sarah and I have got more in common than ever.
I couldn't believe it. It's like, what a coincidence. So for anyone who didn't know, both of our best pet friends, but sadly, I hate that term, cross the rainbow bridge.
Mine was fucking murdered.
Well, we haven't even spoken to each other since then, really. We've texted each other. We haven't physically spoken. I mean, for me, you know, it's the way I realise it's the way I deal with grief, to be honest. You know, I'm sure we will become funny soon, but I think this
we're going to add the funny in a minute. Hiya, Ray.
But I just push everyone away, and it's to say, you know, grief is exactly the same as like splitting up with someone, end of a relationship, end of a marriage. I've had a lot of that fucking shit go on in my life, and I had 2 cats. When I moved into this house 14 years ago, to me, having a cat, you know, having a house isn't a home without a cat. And so for me, it felt like a bit of an hi Trish. It felt like a bit of an end of an era, really. And yeah, horrible, horrible, and yeah, still pretty horrible. Especially like certain times of the day when that would be the time that Bruno would be like on my lap, that kind of stuff. Yeah, natural end of a life, really, for mine. But yours was, I mean, so what happened? Well, you don't have to say, but
well,
you know who it was,
I dreamt of Tilly having an eye injury, and I woke up.
Yeah, I noticed that on Twitter or something, wasn't it?
And I woke up,
God.
and my parents have got a dresser, and it's got like a pointless tray like you would have in a bedroom. And Tilly used to sleep in that. Just my stepdad's black socks are in that tray. And when I say black socks, they're black socks with white cat hair. And even though the box is the size of a laptop, they would just take it in turns to like Calvin and Hobbes, like the tiger, just lie on their backs. It's like, so I woke up and I immediately had to find her. And I found her, and even though she was comfortable, I picked her out to give her a hug because I'd had such a horrible dream, to give her a kiss and tell her I loved her, at which point she was like, "You've disturbed me from sleeping," and jumped off whilst basically flicking me the V's. And then I read about your loss, and I used the sentence, "I can't imagine what you're going through." At which point the gods of let's fuck her life up heard me say that and thought, well, we'll have none of that. And my mum was going to a meeting, and I know this is really silly, but she had put sausages in the fridge, but she hadn't said if they wanted to go in the freezer or the fridge. So I ran up to the top of the road, because you have to do a loop past our house to do it. And I went like that, and I looked, and I just saw her colours. And it just happened. And then today I popped to the spa to post a letter. So it's sort of like, I came out. And as I came out, this car was absolutely tanking it through the 30. So I decided to do 22, 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So he overtook me in a sleepy little lane, at which point I thought I could help him with directions by flipping him the bird and just continually holding my hand on the horn. And when I spoke to the woman in the post office, she said her mum had come out of that junction and people just tank it. They just, even though they are 50 yards from a 30-mile-an-hour zone, they still tank it. So I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna fill every form in I can to either do speed watch or speed bumps or speed cameras. I have to say I am blown away by the care of sync guests Ellie Daniel with chopping.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm humbled.
Yeah, it really helped, actually, to be honest. Like, on the day, obviously you can imagine I was just totally inconsolable, totally just like my best friend, the person I've known since I was 11, rang me at lunchtime and I'll just leave you to it, because I couldn't stop crying. And I don't know about you, Lucy, but I just think people who don't have pets don't get it. I'm not saying Liz wasn't like this, she wasn't. But for me, I just feel like it is like a person. As to me, animals are on the same level as people, and I'm aware not everyone.
I'd say higher.
Yeah, slightly higher. I don't know if like the people feel this. I do. I've had personal conversations where I'm like, I would rather that we test on people rather than animals. That's how strongly I feel about it. Yeah, pets. They're my family. They were my family, and and it's just shit. But also, if a person had died, you just feel I feel personally a bit more able to go, oh, by the way, this, and I think everyone understands them. But when it's a pet, I know there are people out there going, oh, for God's sake, really. But for me, it's like, no, it was me and Bruno, just us two for 3 years, because Rory went in 2017. And you do have, Sarah, you do have a bond, like, so can't talk about it too much because we don't want me blubbing. I've managed 2 days without crying since it happened.
I was 90 minutes after finding her dead. I was supposed to be doing the Lucy show, understandably, it was fucking cancelled. And I just didn't. I cancelled everything.
Yeah.
I just cancelled everything.
Well, yeah, of course you would. Why wouldn't you?
Just cancelled everything. And then when it came to doing the Lucy show this week, I just kept everything the same. I added a few more bits, but it was basically, it should have been week 15 this week, but it was week 14. And to see in the thank you section that I dedicated the show to you and Bruno.
Oh, thank you. I feel awful because I push everyone away. I get angry. I get angry very quickly, and I was at my nan's funeral and I was angry. You know, the way my dad deals with stuff, he's a joker and he'll joke with everyone. My sister's like that as well. I'm a bitch. I'm such a fucking bitch. I'm just like, everyone stay away because otherwise you're gonna have it and you won't know why, and it's not fair on the people.
I'm more likely
I couldn't even be there for you, and we're new friends. And you're like, I was just like, I don't have capacity, and I'm so sorry. I feel awful about that.
Well, sort of every couple of days, we would send each other a message saying, "You okay?" And then we'd go, "Yeah, you." You know, I'm here if you need me.
Yes.
And you were like, "I'm here if you
pedal. This pedal is here.
I'm more likely to be able to hold a conversation with someone I know very, very briefly than to somebody that I know.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So, I mean, I had a really lovely conversation with an online comedian who she Donna Landy, who hi Jason, you're watching, darling. I stopped going to a job after a dog of mine died. Yeah. I was able to talk to Donna. We had about an hour and a half conversation, but other than that, I've messaged with people, but I mean, it took me more than 5 days to not just like a post on Facebook, to actually have an opinion.
I just couldn't. And I have to say to you, well done. Last week, Joke in the Rough House was such a fucking shit show from my point of view, because it was my responsibility to like host it. I told Di I couldn't physically be there because I knew I just needed a break. This is before Bruno, went. And I just felt like the next one, I'm not going to be on it. I'm not going to be in it. I'm having nothing to do with it. Obviously, hosting stuff. But long story short, basically something had happened with my Zoom account. I had to re-sort it all out. I didn't realise that meant re-sorting out the bloody link to Facebook. And very quickly, like within seconds, we only realised like a 5 to 8. All the apps are like, "Hello, can we come in?"
I know,
and we're like,
"No." And our guest Eleri was meant to be on it, and I was so excited about meeting Eleri, even if backstage, just getting a sense of her live and seeing her, because you've said so many lovely things about her. I've heard so many lovely things about her. I was like, I get to at least. I said to Di, I said, I'll do the tech, but I'm not speaking to anybody. And he was like, "That's fine." And then the tech died, so we had to jump onto StreamYard, so I was able to bring people in batches. And then he decided to do it. If you're watching this, Di, what we've learned from this is don't do a show from a car in Morecambe Bay.
Maybe get someone else to host it.
Maybe do it in a building.
Yeah.
And it was a case of my eyes looked like I don't. For those of our fans learning English in Nigeria, my eyes looked like piss holes in the snow. And all of a sudden,
there's just like floods, and we were both like, "So how are you then?" Fine. How are you?
You were like,
"Oh fuck, that is working." Fine.
You're like, "The tech's not working." I was like, "I'll sort this." Di, just tell everyone to do what I fucking say.
And then with the lovely racists,
then cometh the fascists. And the thing is, right, so this is very visual. If you're listening to on Spotify, do apologize. But as you can see, we're looking at this thing now, and yes, so Ray's just put a message on, and I show it, and I press, there it is, Joke in the back seat. Now, to get rid of that message, I have to click on that message. But we were being spammed with over 300 hate-filled racist messages. And as I literally had my mouse over the message to take it back off, so it moved like the spinner on Price is Right. And I highlighted a racist comment during my friend, who is a person of colour, doing a stand-up. I highlighted racism during my friend's stand-up. The sweat that was dripping out of me. I couldn't not do the tech because I wanted Black Lives Matter UK to get to happen, and I couldn't not let it happen. But I was there as a dead android. And again, the world of let's see about that came in and sorted that out.
Did it help take your mind off things though?
It did.
It helped me because I was like, I'm gonna go into FRs and see if we can get people to come in and like the video, because they were like, I noticed a comment on there. I think you'd said something like, well, this is great publicity for Black Lives Matter, so screw you. And someone in the comments had said something like, not with all this downturn. And I thought, we'll see about that. I went on to Rough Hours and was like, hey guys, there's a load of racists, come and help. And thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you so much, because at this point I had stopped looking at the comments. I'd managed to write a message of my own that just said ha 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 and highlight it. Yeah. So that was up for most of the show, but I couldn't not click on that. It was like, that was the placeholder. That's it. And when I did go, I saw it flash up on my Facebook as I was doing it, and it was as if you'd got the horn of comedy and gone, our people need us. So I went back onto comments, and I could see Hales, Vix, Ray, or not Ray, all of our peoples.
Yeah.
Putting in good messages, which gave me time to click on a good message and time to click off.
Yeah. And I had my YouTube account, the Kitchen Sink YouTube account. I just kept going into all our different Rough Hours account to like it and make comments and stuff. Oh, well,
all it's highlighted is that if Di's doing another joke in the Oak, not joke in the Rough Hours, but if he's doing another joke in the Oak, I know that we can do StreamYard with a laugh track.
Yeah, great.
B, I will not use any comments. Comments are I will just ignore it, and it'll just say Black Lives Matter. It'll give me more time to change the banners to say the name of the act, if anything. Not doing that. So we can do it, and we should do it.
Yeah. And I think anyone, not many people have tech these things. And people don't realize this. It's quite a lot of it's like being a stage manager. You've got to think all the lights, how it looks, and there's a lot of technical stuff, and you just have to you can't just switch off. Like if you're an act, you can kind of just think about your set and, think, oh, it's my turn, and perform, and then you can sit back and whatever, but you can't do that when you're teching. And I think if anyone out there listening is thinking, oh, I'd quite like to do my own show, get someone to tech for you. Don't do everything. Don't host and tech and look into it with more than 24 hours to go.
Yes.
The amount of people gone, Sarah, can I have help with this? And it's on the day, and I'm like, I did offer help a month ago or two, but a couple of days even. But anyway, that's enough of me. And then we had like our lovely, gorgeous people, pets passed away. And then Black Lives Matter, and raised a fair bit of money for Black Lives Matter, I hope.
Yeah.
And then look at this is the new black and white one. Let me put that to black. Look at that.
Yeah.
Got my phone. New phone. Only had it since beginning of lockdown. Got on the floor, smashed.
I think my message to you was 2020 can fucking do one.
It absolutely can. What a load of shit.
Oh, would you like me to add my little topper?
Yeah, go on then.
So
I could draw a line, and there's a fucking couple of week or so. It's just been fucking shit.
Yeah, and then I applied for a driving job, little travel, little tiny little local job, and I thought, well, I'll just get my driver's license out because I wanted a CV, and a truck CV is where you just type your numbers and the expiry dates. My driver's license expired in April. So I rang them, And instead of it going just through, there's high numbers or we're not answering, you just go boop, 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 and then it just goes beep. Like they've turned the numbers off at the DVLA. So like, fine, you can use the web chat. Okay, brought up the web chat, and the web chat went, oh no, COVID's on. There's no web chat. Right.
Oh my God.
So I got my stepdad to drive me to the post office in Tiverton, which is like 10 miles away, and I flapped in. And I was like, I didn't get a renewal for my driver's license. And she went, no one did. COVID. I'm like, my eyes twitching, and I'm trying not to huff, because I didn't want to be one of them women. And so she gave me the form, and I said, this doesn't say anything about trucks. And she went, oh, are you a truck driver? I forgot that I don't look like a truck driver. I'm talking truck. She's thinking car. So it could, thank God I checked. Otherwise, I would have gone 10 miles home to find out I didn't have the right piece of paper.
Yeah.
I sat down, and it says, what, do you want to renew your truck? And I was like, tick. And it says, please put a cross. I managed to turn the tick into a cross. And it's sent off. Oh, Poodle Hat, hey Ian.
Hi.
But it was a case of, it is down to the responsibility of the drivers to remember their renewals, but you get used to being told. It's like with your MOT and all that. Sorry, car insurance. You get used to being told you've got to renew. And they
how
went,
often does the driving license run out?
Every 5 years. And the thing is, do you know what? You haven't to do nothing except for tick a box, put your card in an envelope, and send it off. There's no questions. There's no nothing. It is the most pointless exercise in administration you can ever imagine. And so she went, well, there was a big notice on the website. And I went, no, I said, I think you'll find I was just on it and I didn't see one. What I wanted to say was, fuck you, I've just looked.
Yeah.
And then I looked as I was licking the envelope to send it. The DVLA have got Instagram, a Twitter, and a Facebook account. Went on Facebook, and it is just it's like the Black Lives Matter comments. It was just literally barrages of hate. Like, I can't go to work. And apparently it's allowed for you to drive on an expired license as long as you're healthy. So whether or not Tesco's will take me, or whether or not I have to wait for my new license to come through, and for how long that will take, I don't know. So, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Good luck.
Yes, thank you very much. But it's I said to you, I got in touch with Jerry Shea, and he said about how he had bad news just before going on set, and he just sort of said to me, Lucy Orchard is one person, Stage Lucy is another person. You're right, that is for different people, might work or might not work. But I just saw myself like having an out-of-body experience. I put my tears over there, and I just thought, what if this was a £20,000 gig?
Yeah.
Suck it up, bitch. And I managed to do my first ever paid gig.
Oh, well done. Congratulations. How did it go?
All it involved was having a chat with myself and using a lot of my mother's eye cream.
Good. Right.
Because my eyes are like that. And with the more I put on, the more you could see I had eyes.
Special stuff that like sucks away all the puffiness there.
It was, I don't know. It was like the size of a bottle top, which means it's obviously like 60 quid. Because the smaller the eye cream, the more expensive it is. I don't even know what it says on it, but I sort of just was like, I just slathered it on.
Slap it on. It'll be fine.
And let's see. Ray has said, ex-civil servant here, box ticket exercises are heart everything we did.
Yeah.
And yes, Ray attended my first paid gig. Excellent work, Lucy. So I can now put on my CV that I have done a middle spot in Seattle.
Oh, fab. Well done. Congratulations.
And I just thought, well, do you know what? If it does go badly, I won't go back to Seattle.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. Did you get feedback afterwards?
I got feedback. It was really good. And most importantly, I got the moolah.
Awesome. Excellent job. Yes, which is always very nice and handy, isn't it?
I've now drunk those profits.
Have you have you registered at Company's House for and with the HMRC?
Yes, I've been paying my stamp, and I've registered
Did you
all that
quarter
stuff.
for your taxes?
Yeah, it's just like RuPaul says, pay your taxes. And it's amazing to be paying money on stamp and to be registered self-employed and to have nothing coming in is brilliant.
Beautiful, isn't it? I love
Beautiful.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing Eleri today, and later on today. Has anyone? I wonder if anyone's actually watched this week's review, our comedy review. This week we're going to be reviewing The Woman That Turned by the two Ronnies. Very interesting. I watched three of them, 3 or 4 of them out of 8, I think it was.
Yeah, it's I did 4, half of 7, and a bit of 8. I want to watch it properly, but as the date got closer, I panicked. And we are going to do Mike Biblia. I'm going to say bibliography. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Birbiglia next week. My boyfriend's girlfriend. Is that the one? Yeah, and that's on Netflix. And if you haven't got Netflix,
it is.
It's on Google Play because it's one that you can listen to if you have a Google Play account. Might be on YouTube, not sure, but yes, that's what we're doing next week. Is Mike Birbiglia, my girlfriend's boyfriend. I think I'll double check it. My favourite one. But I listen to it every few months. I know the name of it.
And if I know this is a very niche thing to say, but if we have any Welsh speakers watching, Eleri's performing tonight.
Where is she performing?
I did put the details. As soon as I saw the details pop up, I put them on the Kitchen Sink Facebook page.
Oh, great.
And I think it's 9 p.m. and or 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Eleri will be able to confirm that. But tickets are only £3. And
nice.
If you can or are learning, what a better way.
Yeah, she is on a show with Dan Thomas, and Dan Thomas is a fantastic comedian. Not just, where would you get Dan on the show, actually? Not just Welsh language, but English language as well. Bilingual. Siamai. Wales.
Dim Siarad Cymraeg is basically where it starts and finishes.
And
I know it's really annoying to say Dim Siarad Cymraeg because that means people think you can speak Welsh and then they continue anyway. You're like, oh, I'm saying I can't. But my mum's friend, who's in the council with her, and he turned 90 this week. He lives down the road, but he's Welsh and he speaks Welsh. So I had enough to be able to go over and visit him and sort of do a few, Pembroke Harpers and do a few sort of stumbled together. And his little face to have somebody speak Welsh to him in the middle of Devon on his 90th birthday, he was just like, and he's shouting to his daughter, Sian, someone's speaking Welsh. I can see that you go.
I was just going to say, like, whenever I go into England, like, I'll always have, like, a Tesco carrier bag with me because that's got, like, the Welsh flag on. But I don't realise, I kind of forget that it's got the Welsh flag on. But then you notice people really looking if you happen to be in England and you're carrying stuff in it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Wales. So, yeah, so it's even weirder, I guess, being in England and speaking Welsh. But over here, it's pretty standard, really. I hear it a lot. No one looks at you twice.
Well, we watched Professional Bake Off, which has got the French guys that run the Cardiff patisserie, and they won, and they had their French flag, and they had the Welsh flag as well, and they speak French. They speak English in a French accent, and then they will just go pure Cardiff. So they talk French, they talk English in a Welsh accent with a mixture of French, and these poor guys, they're just like, oh yeah, what a smasher we are. Blah, 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 blah.
Have you ever been in Cardiff on an international match day, rugby day?
No,
you've got to go. You've got to go. I went. I was having like a birthday afternoon tea, in February, and it happened to be the same day that Wales was playing France. That was a very good day. It's well worth going because there's.
Well, I mean, it's completely different to football. We used to have a family shop in. I was just about to say we're bringing Eleri in, and Eleri has disappeared.
Oh no! A message.
Oh, she's back. I was just.
She's back. Great.
She's back. Oh, right. Before she goes again. Right. We're bringing her in from the dining room, which is where we keep all our guests.
Yeah. She's in the dining room.
From the dining room. Our guest. The fabulous, the fantastic Eleri
Morgan.
Hello. Hiya. Sorry about that. I saw it's just at the bottom of this thing, there's like a button for mic cam chat. Then there's a red button that says leave. And just as a compulsion, I pressed it to see what happened. And sorry. It was like a weird, I had no thought. Anyway, back. How are you guys?
That's typical. That is definitely so weird. I've looked at that. It's like it's the red, isn't it? It attracts you. You're just like,
yeah.
Were you surprised then when you did indeed leave the studio?
Yeah, I don't know why I was shocked. I had no right to be. It's literally an X, a red X with the words leave. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's put you in a nuclear bunker with a couple of keys.
Rubber.
What happened to that big red button?
I know. Don't give me the code to the nukes. I'll type them in.
For a
see
laugh.
what happens, see how it goes. I'd like to say hello, Eleri. I was gutted not to meet you the other night, and I'm over the moon to be able to meet you now. And it's just because the tech wouldn't work on BLM night. When you disappeared, I was like,
yes. So I was trying to get in, but the only thing I had access to was a really sporadic messenger chat. And so like every 10 minutes I'd get all the messages, and so it would be a bundle being like, we're ready to go, and then a bundle being like, oh my god, the world's on fire. And then there was another bundle right at the end being like, these pricks. I was like, what's happened? It was so dramatic.
I've never seen anything like it. I must have lived a very sheltered life. I was really shocked. I was like, oh my god, we've done so many of those joking the rough as and raised so much money for the NHS. And it's usually about, I don't know, 20 odd people watching. Everyone's really positive and just chatting away. And I thought, I'll go on, have a little look. It'd be nice to see some positive messages. And it was just all this vile, and it was just and racism.
Who was it?
God.
Was it? Who was it by?
It was Americans.
Oh, was it?
And what? Yeah. And so the original plan was Zoom through Sarah's Raphael's channel, and in a matter of 3.5 minutes, it went StreamYard through Dies, and they still found us. They found us like I mean, we have fans of Joking the Rough As that couldn't find us, and yet the American White Lives Matter fascists, their phone tree was amazing. But the what I thought was not funny, because racism isn't funny, but we've done gigs online. Sarah and I have been to like American stuff, and we've changed our certain phrasing so that the audience can understand us. Yeah. They were using American slang racism, and I wasn't going to fucking Google it, so it's wasted because it was all really specific stuff.
But why were sort of neo-Nazis targeting Joking the Oak? It's hardly like a hotbed of BLM. Lots of allies, but not like the most diverse group of people in the world running it.
I don't know. I mean, we had my friend from Michigan, Alex Bradley, and friend of the Raphael scene, Dario Durham, and they had both promoted on their pages that they were doing Black Lives Matter gigs. So I don't know whether or not that they're on a watch list, or whether there's just somebody sat at home typing in BLM into YouTube repeatedly until something happens.
That's bananas. That's what I did. I organised a charity gig. I helped organise a charity gig, and we had a guy, because Bristol had done it the week before, and this was right at the start of lockdown, and there was a guy who was monitoring the comments, like we have the comments here, and he, anytime someone was saying something shitty, they'd just delete them. And he's called Sam, and he's the sweetest guy in the world. But by the time we got to us, he was ejecting people. He got rid of 2 people because they used the word bra. He was like, they're out. We had to be like, Sam, you need to calm down.
I'd be like
that.
I take that very seriously.
In Cardiff, that's not bra in Cardiff, that's bra.
Bra. Is it bra?
Safe as house bra. Safe as houses bra.
Yeah.
I've been here 3 years, or just over 3 years, and I've been trying to do the Cardiff accent the whole time, and can't, for the life of me, I can't.
It's a lot tighter in the back of your mouth. You don't understand what you mean? It's really tight. It's really tight. You hardly even move your mouth, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It's such a mad accent. It's so mad.
I used to work in Cardiff with look at me showing off. No, I used to work in Cardiff. My friend, he was from Cardiff. Obviously, I'm from Swansea. I can't do the Cardiff Ely accent, but she used to do it, and then I'd be doing Swansea Mach. It's like, all right, Mach, what's happening? But I'd love to be able to do the Ely accent, but I can't.
Can you tell the difference between?
I'm from Calver. My mum says I'm from Calver, not Ely. We're on the roundabout, by the sports shop.
I didn't realise it was that specific. You know what I find really mental? I've never been able to wrap my head around it. You know how, like, in the UK, you have a different accent every few miles?
Yeah.
Australia, size of Europe, one accent. No weird. Not mental.
I wonder why the Australians listen, because I have family from Australia, so they might be listening. I wonder if they think they have different accents, though.
Well, I asked an Australian once before, and he said no. He said it's one accent, and it's mine. It's one accent. It's just sometimes it goes more bogan, which I think is like you have rougher and posher, but it's the same accent. It's just one's a little.
Bogan is their version of a bumpkin, but quite a poor working class bumpkin, because the amazing blonde bridesmaids, bigger girl, hustle, comedian, used to live with Matt. Somebody help me.
Naming people, I'm not sure.
No, comedian. She was in Rebel Wilson. Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle come to the rescue. Thanks, Kyle.
Right. So Rebel Wilson was put in something like Hello Magazine or something, and they said that she was trying to cash in on a fake bogan background, and that she wasn't, and she managed to take them to court for about $30 million.
Wow.
Yes, isn't she? Charity.
Wow.
Yeah,
old Rebel.
She's super smart, isn't she? She's got like a law degree from like the Australian version of Oxbridge. And then she got like 2 other sisters who are called like Anarchy. There's Rebel, there's Anarchy, and there's something else. I want to say Pain, but I think that's right.
I lived in quite a hippie community. And I knew a guy in a hippie community, and he was called Wolf, and his brother was called Bear. And then they had a third brother called Ben. And I went, different dad? And they went, yeah.
I always think that's amazing, when people have like 2 kids, and the first kid is called like Romulus, and the second is called Jack. You're like, oh, you use your favourite name up, and then you couldn't give a fuck. I just like, I'm called Eleri, which I think like it's a fairly common Welsh name. It's not out of the ordinary, but like in England, people are like, the fuck. But I have an older sister, and she's called Elva Gunhwyvar. And I'm like, thank God I'm the second daughter, because my parents clearly just had to get that out of their system. Like, it's the same with my brothers. I've got, then underneath me, it's 2 boys, and the older boy is Jams, which is like not a name. And then under it, it's just David. So I'm like, they clearly had like a boy name and a girl name. They're like, we're going to do it. Thank God it wasn't on me.
And with Jams, were they like, oh, I don't know, what's on the counter? Jam. We'll call him Jams.
It's you know what it is? So in my family, generations, they're always named after the first son is always named after the grandparents. So for like hundreds of years, it's gone Richard James, even though they're all Welsh speakers. And then my mum was like, oh, I'm going to give him the Welsh version of James, and just decided it was Jams, which I don't think it is.
Is that like video and video? James and Jams?
Video.
I thought the Welsh version of James was Iago. I think Jams is just James in an insane Welsh accent. I think that's what it is. She was probably high on.
We upload this. We upload this in these interviews into Spotify. Well, into Anchor podcasts, and I just thought we could see, you know, where people were listening from. But Sarah said, no, you know, if you actually click on it, you can go further in. And we've got a listener in Nigeria, and it wasn't until yesterday we had a listener in Cardiff. It was 80% England, 20% Scotland. Sarah and I are Welsh. We've got Welsh people in the chat. We've got Welsh guests, and nobody from Wales was listening. And yesterday we got one from Cardiff.
Yay! Who was it?
Like,
do we know them?
I don't know, but I was like, do we send a card?
Yeah.
What's the best from Nigeria getting out of this? That's amazing.
I mean, I thought, well, maybe there's a few in Australia, because Sarah said she had relatives in Australia. Oh no, we got quite a few in Australia, Canada. It's really amazing. And then Drew Taylor chipped in on the post I put on one of the forums, and his Tales from Wales podcast has very few Welsh people listening. They're all from everywhere else. And another guy was like, I've got a listener in Madagascar.
It is the most fun thing. It's like this is the Rafaz podcast. I love seeing like where people are from. Like I was so excited. We had listeners from New York. I'm like, oh, New York City! Someone in New York has heard my voice, or is gone, oh, that's the podcast for me. Whoop whoop. And but my most exciting was because I'm a massive fan of the Adam Buxton podcast. And he lives in Norfolk somewhere, I think.
She doesn't remember where it is. She always goes, is it Norwich, Norfolk, Nottingham? She knows it begins with an N. Go on, carry on your story.
Begins with an N. Oh, thanks, Lucy. And anyway, wherever he's from, there's one listener from there. And I like to think that's Adam Buxton. It probably isn't. But I'm like,
Norfolk.
Oh, what's this competition to my podcast? Let's listen to this. And it's just, Rafaz go, oh, do you want to be a comedian? This is one way you could do it. Oh, man.
You're taking notes, Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, this lady seems to know what she's talking about. Yeah. I do love being able to see where it's so exciting. I love it. I like the podcast world. Yeah, it's good fun.
I also like how you think that Norfolk is more exciting than New York. That is bananas to me.
Yeah, I was running around the house going Nigeria, and she's like, could be Adam Buxton.
Could be. Chances are he's into comedy. He's into it.
He can listen. He's got a computer or a smartphone. I mean, he's ticking every box.
You never know. You never know.
Kyle, if you have got a VPN and you've put yourself as Nigeria, I'll kick your bottom. But could you, just for me, change your VPN to Madagascar? Because I want one of them.
So Larry, how has the lockdown been treating you, my lovely? I haven't seen you for ages. It's lovely to see you.
For ages. Awful. And I'm glad you're calling it lockdown, because I keep reading in the newspapers that it's not lockdown, but it's still lockdown.
Yeah.
It's awful. I hate every single minute of it. And that's not true. I liked it at the beginning. I felt like at the beginning it was quite exciting. Everyone was like, oh, we're going to die. Like, you know, it was fun.
Yeah.
And it felt like everyone rallied together being like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Like, let's go mental and buy toilet paper. Yeah. That I enjoyed. But now it's just so long, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a party that's run its course.
But you want your VE day. We want like, it's over. Everyone come out of your houses. But it's not going to happen, is it?
It's not over. And I don't think it'll ever be. Even with a vaccine, how will you know for sure that we're just going to go, fuck it, you're got to go sometime and just live our lives, or we're always going to be I think it's a bit
in
of
our
a
little
fabric.
Mach.
Yeah. Oh, I quite like them.
I do quite like them. Yeah, do you? I like them. I like them because I've got quite bad stress acne at the moment from all the stress of lockdown, and a mask is just perfect.
I need to buy a mask. And there's a lady in the village that sells them, but I want to try and get one that's got perspex hole, because the people that are deaf and can't lip read, it's like the world woke up and covered their mouths. And I don't know. I mean, in my mind, isn't that going to steam up? Is there like a way, you know? I want to learn more.
I didn't even get perspex ones for your mouth. That
so it's
no
fabric
would look like a horror show.
Oh, I mean, I want one. My heart wants one, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking,
I would scream if I saw someone in the street wearing that. I would scream. I would scream and scream and scream.
Well, we wouldn't be able to hear you though.
Just clear teeth and then everything else covered. Sweet.
It's like you don't even need. Hang on a minute. You don't even need that little bit to be clear. You could have the whole mask clear. You don't have to be all fabric and just as long as you see that bit. You just have because you can get like in Marks and Spencer's, they've got a lot of the staff have like a welder's hat type thing, so it's a visor.
Yeah, with the visor.
Yeah. The visor.
Why would you just cut that out? Just so men could still tell you to smile. That's what that's there for.
Well, they've got now where you can have fabric see through there, and then it has this little visor built in as well. I mean, it's right. See if I can bring this up and show you.
The ones that made me laugh were the ones where people have sent in photos to this specialised place and of their faces. So they're meant to. It's a 3D picture of their face on the mask, but they printed it a little bit too big. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh wow. I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it.
I don't.
Enjoy your night,
I know it
tonight, everyone.
I don't.
Her eyes aren't smiling in that one. It's gonna get. Sorry.
Her eyes are very sad.
Slightly more comfortable. My phone. I just realised just before I logged on, my phone has 3%, so I'm limited to this insanely flattering angle with my charger in the phone. So I've slightly given myself a Hitler haircut. I look a bit like Hitler, don't I? Like a young one. Like a youthful Hitler.
Back? Is your hair scraped back though, Lair?
Yeah, I was in the shower.
You have to cut it.
But this would be nice if those trolls, if those neo-Nazis are following, give them something to, enjoy.
Yeah. Well, we normally do have a troll. We haven't had anyone yet. We're not encouraging them. We tend to turn them. We get our trolls, don't we?
Okay, sorry.
We're troll turners. So we've got a question from the amazing Ray. Did you do the Guru Eleri stuff for Hanch in lockdown? None of those words make sense to me, but I would explain.
Hi, yes, yes, I did. And then, oh God, this is going to sound so showy-offy, but basically, I got asked by Hanch. Hanch is brilliant. If you haven't seen it, Hanch is, that's not the showy-offy bit. Oh, I'm warming up to the showy-offy bit. Hanch is essentially, it's like the Welsh language version of, I'd say SESH, but not quite. It's sort of in between SESH and BBC Three. It's the Welsh version. It's brilliant. And I have wanted to get in with Hash for so many years. And all it took was a global pandemic for them to be like, oh, I guess we're like desperate enough to get Eleri in. But it was meant to be 6 episodes. And so they were like, yeah, you just have to do everything from home. You have to film it and do everything. And I am so bad. I feel like I know how to do straight stand-up and I know how to write comedy. I don't know how to film comedy. I don't know how to edit, which is awful. And I joined BAFTA last year, which is a big fucking mistake because it costs like 50 quid to join if you're a newbie. But you get free cinema tickets across all, you don't have to pay for cinema for films in Cineworld, in Cineworld, in what are the other ones?
Odeon, Cineworld, View.
Odeon, View, and the fancy one with the sofas. Every man. You get them all for free.
Love Everyman.
I was like, oh, I'll do that. And then the world shut down. I was like, oh.
I was going to say, so for free, you can go to a closed cinema.
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me, I'm actually a member of BAFTA. But there was BAFTA were doing a mentorship scheme at the moment. And they were like, what are you looking for? And I was like, I need someone to show me how to like catch the light. But I'm really humiliated by how bad the Guru Larry stuff is. I can't film, guys. Awful. So yeah, I did it, but I'm ashamed of myself. Does that answer the question?
More than. But Ray thinks it's brilliant, so you shouldn't be so hard on yourself.
Thank you, Ray. Ray, the famously, harsh critic.
I think it was Ian McKellen who was on the Graham Norton show, and he was saying about how he'd acted with Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, and he said like how amazing she was as a talent, because they'd be talking and he'd look at her face a bit puzzled, and she just put her arm out and go, you're in my light, right? You got Sir Ian, right? And then you got Williams, and she just knows.
Yeah, excuse me.
But I remember that I was listening to some famous. Who was it? It was like two famous comics, and they were talking about another famous comic, so great with names. And they were saying that the guy walked on stage, and then he was out of the darkness. Then he stepped into the light. And the other famous comics are like, you just can't teach that. You cannot teach that level of stagecraft. And you can. All filming is figuring out where the light is, where to stop. It was
also
the
like the phrase.
Pardon?
Look, I was just thinking the phrase, stepping into a light, you can't teach that. And I'm like, you don't even, surely you can.
Yeah.
Like you say,
if you can't learn that, that's the problem. That's on you.
How can you not stand in a fucking spotlight? Because
there's always that big conversation, isn't there, about can you learn comedy? And I'm of the school that you absolutely can, because I don't think babies pop out of the womb like, ta-da! Look at me go. Like, I think
it was a difficult birth. It had top hat and a cane.
Like birth isn't difficult enough. Please stop tap dancing and telling you little baby jokes out of my van. Yeah.
They love me. No, it's gas and air.
Yeah, I think you can learn.
I think so too. I think there's an awful lot of gatekeepers in comedy going, no, you don't bother even performing unless there's the naturally funny people who are hilarious straight away, and I just think, it's just fucking, isn't it funny how they all happen to be men? It's just fucking bullshit.
And also
work.
And everyone's taste is so different, so there's not an idea that one person is funny, one person isn't. And I think people just like to think that they're special when they're like, I'm the funny one. It's just this special gift I have. And you're like, you were probably bullied to a point that you had to and you were too weak to fight.
Yeah.
So you had to figure out other ways of getting your own back. That was my story anyway.
Well, I listened to a interview with Lenny Henry, and Lenny Henry's like, a tall guy, he's massive. And he was saying that he had this bully who every single day was having a go at him, trying to get him to fight him. But Lenny learned very quickly that he was like, I don't want to fight people. He could lamp him one, but didn't want to do, and that's where he made people laugh. But for you, is that what happened with you, Larry? You were bullied, was that? Or
I was lamping people left, right, and centre.
I knew that about you. First time I met you, I thought, I'm not going to cross that one. She's going to be next.
If anyone gets in my light, that's it. I like the phrase lamp.
Yeah.
I don't think I think I was bullied in a way that every child is. I don't think it was specific. I just think, like every child gets a little, I feel like everyone has a little bit of a bully.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trust someone who was like, no, I was never bullied. I'd be like, oh.
It's because you were the bully.
Yeah. How do you
Is that
develop a
what I'm saying?
personality unless you're a bit sad as a teenager?
Yeah.
Also,
Aw.
if you weren't bullied, there's nobody that you know you're going to succeed better than when you get older. Because the thing is, bullies in school, they are the big I am at that moment in time. So when you get bullied when you're younger, it's because maybe you like comic books, or you do music club, or you do something that makes you different, and you get bullied for being different. Well, when you get older, being different is what makes you fabulous. And it's all those mainstream grey people that think they're really lush, that turn out to be an estate agent in Rotherham, unhappily divorced twice. And, they see their kids in McDonald's on the weekend. And, if you don't get bullied, but if there aren't bullies, we don't have those people.
We wouldn't have an entertainment industry if it wasn't for bullies.
Yeah, that's true. We need to be thanking
wouldn't have
the
a comedy scene anyway.
We absolutely wouldn't. We absolutely wouldn't. Or maybe we would have a slightly less problematic comedy scene. Maybe. Put that one out there as well.
I know
Three
women
forum, but I don't want to talk about it.
3 women start a really good conversation and end it with, but bullies are people too.
I
feel
also let's just be nice.
I'll pity the bullies. They clearly have issues.
Yeah, that's fair. Were you guys bullied at school or not?
Oh yeah.
I was. I had a couple of times. Nothing sustained or anything. My next sister up was bullied from beginning to end. But yeah, because she had curly hair.
Really?
Yeah, and
that's a good reason.
Really intelligent. She did Latin.
Oh, did she?
She did a maths O level a year early, and she did a year of Latin. She's really clever. She clearly got all the brains. I was like,
you grew up in Swansea? Did you grow up in Swansea, or have I made that up? There's a school that teaches Latin.
Yeah. For comprehensive, they did. Not all the kids got to do it. Certain kids that were like I think she was the last year to do it because she's a bit older than me. She's 5 years older than me. So, and I'm 47, so she's 50. What's the math?
She's that age. She's that age.
She's that age.
I did Latin.
Wow, there was a comp school in Swansea, so there's a pile of people who went to a comp in Swansea. I love that.
Whatever.
That's amazing.
Icalian atrium.
The only thing I know is a mass, a mat, a more. I make it up. I don't know what that is. But when someone says Latin, it's dinosaurs and then a mass, a mat, a mam, a more. They'll go great.
And there's VDVT Vici. That's the and just Carpe Diem as well. That's
someone's just messaged Semper Ubi Subi Ubi. Is that right?
This is Trish.
We'll all be Chicago trying to figure out all the
always wear
underwear. Oh, I disagree.
I
disagree.
Right, Ian. No, Living the Vida Loca. That isn't.
I love that.
Yeah, I didn't think they taught Latin at comps for the scum. That's really wicked, though. Really
my sister's not scum.
Oh yeah,
I am.
Time flies.
I think I have a sorting hat at school. Like, let's work out who the scum are. Colette, she's not scum. You get to do Latin. Bridgman, Sarah, a bit scummy. Off you go that way. Yeah.
My dad taught
it's probably just Hogwarts.
Why did everyone all know quite a lot of Latin, actually? Everyone's going, tapping away in the old Latin.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading this. I'm gobsmacked.
Well,
Wow.
Latin is the base language of all the European languages. So if you know Latin, then it goes on that you'd be able to do English, French, German, Italian, Spanish. The Welsh are different because the Romans got to Wales and went, oh no.
They didn't like our mountains. Oh no, we're going to do one road and then that's it. Well, the Romans would be like, oh, we not do it. I can't do it. I was trying. That was Italian, by the way.
That was so good.
We don't like your mountains. We'll do one road.
They got to mid Wales and they genuinely thought there was nothing more than Wales. That further than that, I mean, you know, Rhyl was safe from being taken.
Good. And so it should be.
Even the Romans wouldn't go to Rhyl.
Anywhere near Rhyl.
Leave Rhyl off, right, guys?
No one from Rhyl listens to the podcast, so.
We're aware of. Yet. You never know. Where did you grow up to?
Crossed. Pardon?
You grew up to? That's very Welsh, by the way.
I grew up. That was lovely. I grew up in West Wales, so I grew up in Ceredigion, which is lovely, near Aberystwyth, which I really like. It's very, very nice, and it's very empty because the roads are it's just insane to get to. So it's not. I like it. It's very boring. So I hated it when I was a teenager because I thought it was the dullest place in the world. So boring, but it's the kind of place that when you go back to as an adult, you're like, oh, there's no crime. It's so safe. There's a lovely art centre. But when you're a teenager, you're like, why are there no sexy men?
Yeah. I know everyone.
I still scream that now, but in Cardiff. So.
It's like that everywhere in Wales.
But it's the thing down here. I walked back to my friend's house again last night about 11 o'clock at night, and no fear. There's no one around. The only thing I was doing was looking for Pokemon. So I couldn't be kidnapped quite easily.
Are you still playing that?
How many Pokemon have you got now? Yeah. You sent me a picture of Pikachu with a heart earlier. Is that a special Pikachu?
Well, you have to take a picture of your buddy to get an extra heart. And I thought, well, it was a really nice picture. And I thought, well, who would appreciate a picture of a Pikachu with a heart more than my comedy wife, Bridgman?
Yeah. It's like, oh.
Is that still being played by people, the Pokemon
Oof.
Go?
Yeah.
Things? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weren't there like cases of people injuring themselves because they would stick rare ones in really dangerous places?
Yeah, I think so. Early back, look, she's on it already. She's like, I've just got to have a quick peck of a Pokemon.
No.
So where were you that you could walk safely? I'm guessing not Swansea.
I live in Mid Devon.
Oh no!
I live in Mid Devon, and it really is like Midsummer Murder, but without the police presence. Yeah, in this case, I went to the pub a couple of weeks ago, and walked back, and Sarah said, you know, a brilliant line from watching the show back as well, because she was just like, not the Swansea, you know, you're going to get killed or anything, but I probably wouldn't.
Oh no.
So I'm just going to. I've just got a little technical problem on my end. Would it be alright if I just popped out the stream and you two just chatted for a couple of minutes? I'm just going to remove myself. Be fab.
Okay, no
She's
pressure.
1,000% playing Pokemon Go. There's no two ways about it. She saw Pokemon. She's like, guys, I've got to.
That was it's just in the garden, and I bet it's a rare one. And she's like, I've just got to go. Got to go get it. I've literally Pokemon Go. I literally play it in the house. I have played it down the front, you know. Have you been to Swansea area apart from when you're gigging? Have you ever been in the daytime? Down the front, there's this big bit of green on the Oystermouth Road, and it used to be a pitch and punt, because of course you're going to put a golf course next to a main road. Of course you are. But
Really?
now, yeah, every year there are at least 1 or 2 people with a broken windshield because of a golf ball. Yeah, there's a pitch and punt
No,
next to
is that
Oystermouth
true?
Road. It's absolutely true. And Oystermouth
That's
Road
amazing.
is massive. It's got like 4 lanes to it. It's so wide. It's bizarre when you think about it. And that's still there, but they play football now. They don't. It's like it's a game where they've got, instead of pitch and punt, because nobody was going and doing it, you've now got pitch and punt, but with footballs instead of golf balls.
It
Very
feels like an incredibly dangerous road.
It
Like a
is.
very risky road to drive down.
Like, oh, mister, can I get my ball back? You know, it's just mad, really. Oh, how's your house painting going?
If you guys don't know, I'm painting my house pink. Friend, comedian Priya.
Yes.
I'm doing a writer's room with her at the moment. And we were sort of talking. She went, oh, someone's just sent me a photo of your house, Eleri, and it's very big on the gay scene in Cardiff, or the LGBTQ+, because we have, and it was an accident, but I'm not mad about it. Our houses now, we have painted the trans flag.
Oh, brilliant.
It's pink and blue. So apparently all like the trans community in Cardiff are like, way!
Yeah. As long as they don't turn up at like 4 a.m. on a Saturday after a night out going, let's go see the trans house. Give us some love.
Well, I love it. I'll open the windows. I'll be raving.
Yeah.
I got right. So we got the paint came. Everything is delayed because of COVID, but the paint came.
Yeah.
But by the paint came, they're like, "Oh, did you catch it?"
Did you see that I'm getting spammed, trolled by our own people. We usually get strangers that troll us, right? And I've got our own people.
It's only trolling if it's not true.
I'm back. Sorry, I'm listening. I know there's a difference between trans flag and the normal rainbow flag. Is it just there's more purple?
I think the bisexual colour is purple because it's a mixture of pink and blue.
Ah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I've got my flags mixed up.
Trans is blue and pink. And white?
You're right.
Is it? It's absolutely. My house.
Yeah.
But, so there's a really, really boring story. But basically, I painted my house, but we hired a lad, and they're like £100 a day, and we didn't finish it in time. So I just asked on Instagram's been a lifesaver. I'm doing up a house, 0 skills. I asked on Instagram, I was like, oh, does anyone have a ladder? Every man in Cardiff has a ladder. Is that just something men own? Like a giant ladder? So many mates are like, yeah, I've got a giant 300-foot ladder. Why? Why do all men own ladders? There was one guy lives over the road, just came marching out of his house with the biggest ladder I've ever seen. He was like, there you go, Larry.
Instagram saved me a lot before you hired that first ladder.
I know, but I've got a couple like plumbers who follow me on Instagram, and they've been giving me tips about the bathroom. It's been incredibly handy. And if anyone here knows how to turn off a combi boiler, yeah, let me know. See,
how to turn it off?
Yes, I need to turn the water off a combi boiler.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, you have to put it out.
I wouldn't like the responsibility, but there's taps underneath.
Put it out into the universe for the universe to hear you. So once you say, I need help, then the universe can help.
And I cannot stress enough how little skill I have when it comes to any sort of DIY. Cannot stress enough.
I put I don't know if you're a member of the WSI Plus. I'm sure Sarah can add you if you're not, but it's for female trans, binary, non-binary and comedians globally. And I just asked, I said, has anyone got any advice on me taking my own headshots? You know, I've got no money, but I kind of need some headshots. And within half an hour, a friend got in touch with me who's an hour down the road, said my daughter needs people for her photography because she's just starting up. Come and get them done. But you have to put it out into the world for the world to answer you back.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What a lovely story. You do. You gotta ask for what you want. Sexy guys, where are you? Just every day.
I think
In my
Amanda
bedroom.
Palmer did a really good. Amanda Palmer did a really good TED talk about learning to ask and learning to accept for what you want. So she
who's
did
Amanda
a massive.
Palmer? In my head,
I know
she's a
she does.
wag.
No,
Was she on Footballer's Wives?
She is married. No, she is. I think she's married to somebody, but she does the amazing song "Map of Tasmania." She's a bit out there band music. I think she's American. I think, but
I'm thinking of Patsy Palmer. Sorry, continue.
Yes, different.
Patsy Palmer does a TED talk, does she?
On how to sleep with Gallagher.
Neil Gaiman's wife.
Neil Gaiman's wife. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Neil Gaiman's wife.
Yeah, so she did a music tour, and instead of booking hotels, she just put it on her, I don't know, whatever social media she was using. We need sofas, places to crash. And the fans put them up afterwards. She said, you just have to think, I'm going to ask. We need to save money on the hotel. I'm going to say, can anyone give us a room at the end of the night? And they did it.
That's risky.
It is very risky, but she made sure that she was with other people, kind of thing. But it was a case of her
pepper spray and a rape whistle.
Yeah, and her to say that we can't do this, but then she had to just say to her, why can't I ask for this?
Yeah.
You can assume that people are good before they're bad.
Yeah. What should I ask for? What do I want? Money. It always is, isn't it? That's
money.
Money. Hi guys, if anyone is watching this, I would like some money, thanks. Actually, do we all want money?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to be, what I've discovered from lockdown is I would like to be retired now, please. I don't want to work anymore.
Have you enjoyed lockdown?
I have. I know it's awful and people have been
No.
But have you?
You don't feel guilty.
Okay. But I've really enjoyed it, I have to say.
Have you?
It's really helped me. For years now, I've been like, I'm too busy. I've got so much going on, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to sort out what's important for, and especially when you're doing comedy, you're trying to get somewhere in comedy. If you have any kind of a day job, it's just so hard. It's like you're just working all the time.
Yeah.
And then lockdown came, and as well as doing refas as well, which also has its own. I love it, but it's also quite demanding of my time.
Yeah.
And then when sadly, I don't know if you're aware, but my cat passed away, and Bruno, and that for me, I just went, you know what, I need to go away and sort out myself. So, and it's been brilliant. I've started writing a book. I've got 2 book outline ideas, which I'm loving.
Oh my days.
Yeah, I'm going to take a step back, and hopefully wanting to write comedy will come in as well, which I'm sure it will actually.
Yeah.
Other creative stuff has come up already, and I'm just like enjoying life at the minute. It is easier when it's sunny though, isn't it? It's absolutely gorgeous today.
It's very weather dependent, but I do feel like the whole world was gagging for a rest. Like everyone was constantly busy. Like everyone had a million things to do and a million places to be, and the world was going at 1,000 miles an hour. So I feel like people needed a rest. I know what you mean about especially doing comedy. That's why I enjoyed it at the beginning, because I was like, I'm sleeping 10 hours a night. This is so good for me. But now I'm bored.
Yeah. Now I'd like to have a night out and see people in real life, not just on the telly.
Fringe was meant to start as well yesterday.
I was meant to go and see Rufus Wainwright in concert in Glasgow on Saturday.
Oh,
if you don't know who he is, Google him. He's brilliant. But,
he's amazing.
He's such a good actor. I love him. And I was in Edinburgh.
I know.
Were you to Edinburgh this year, Lucy?
Because of my job, I would have been in Europe. So for me, from April till about September, October, I would have been out on the road because I drove trucks for music bands. So I would have been out on tour with Bon Iver. So the lockdown has made me not drive a truck, but it's given me time to sit and write comedy and network and make friends and perform with and make connections with. It's given me chance. So even though I haven't been able to go out and perform physically, I know that once the lockdown is ever lifted, or when we can start going back to traveling, I can walk into like Swansea Comedy Club with Sarah and have all these people that I've spent time with, even though it's electronically, but it'll be like, oh, it's you in real life. And I've got these people like, I mean, I can't wait to meet Shani Thomas, Towler, even, do you know what I mean? I want to meet up with Ali Hancock. I want to meet all these people that I haven't really met, but they're like they're friends that are on hold to ready to meet. Whereas I would have just been driving a truck. The only reason why I was a bit bummed today about not being a truck driver is I listened to the new Taylor Swift album and she's done a duet with Bonnie.
So good.
But the duet she did with Bonnie Ver means that if I was out on tour with Bonnie Ver, there is a 90% chance that she may pop up as a guest on one of their tours. So I was just listening, and it said they do a Bonnie Ver gig, and I was like, you what?
I've never heard of Bonnie Ver. I've never heard. Is it him?
Amazing.
Is it
Well,
a group or...
it's a guy.
Man?
It's it's one guy, Justin, but he's got a band.
He's got an amazing voice.
Kyle's referring to Rufus Wainwright because Rufus Wainwright's sister
Martha
is
Wainwright.
Martha, and he was born to musical parents. So nepotism. I wonder what he was going to be when he was growing up. A little bit like Billie Eilish, or Eilish, or whatever you fucking call. I used to drive her truck as well, and it's just a case of it's one guy and he's got a band with them. And once you join the Bon Iver or Bon Iver family, it's you're always going to be that place. And it's really good to think I could be out on tour with them right now.
Wow. I mean, that must be really exciting though, being on tour.
It is. And like and Justin is really, really lovely as well. He come up to me and be like, because there was a break in the European last year that he went back to America and he was like, we've got a female driver in America as well. We've got one. Amazing. Just amazing. Yeah. And I wore a dress once instead of my work clothes because we had a couple of days off in Switzerland, and they were just like, we know you're a girl, but we weren't expecting to ever see you in a dress. Wow. Like, yeah.
It does happen. I love that.
Cool.
I love that Taylor Swift album. It's really good. I love the last album as well.
If Bon Iver, I mean, even Justin doesn't know if it's Bon Iver or Bon Iver. He was when he made it up. And and I'm wondering if when they go back on tour next year, do I go back because of the 30% chance of meeting Tay Tay?
Absolutely. Her album's stunning. I absolutely love it. I read somewhere someone described it. What did they describe it as? Winter sipping a black coffee music, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
cardigan, black coffee in winter. Still great now though for summer.
Yeah, it's weird that it was released in August. Well, in July, end of July. It would have been a perfect September, October one, wouldn't it?
Would have been. But she's one of those, just makes me feel shit because I've done nothing in lockdown, and people are like, well, you know, it's a pandemic. It's not a reason to be really proactive. And then someone just wrote a whole brilliant album. I'm like, I've grown out.
You painted your house, Eleri. That's much harder than writing an album. Come on.
Well, you're right. It's because you have to get up the ladder, and that's scary. And then down the ladder. And Pebble Dash isn't easy to paint on, guys. It just absorbs. It's like a sponge.
Nightmare.
How long has it taken you? And at what point did you go, why did I start this bullshit?
I was never once sorry for starting it because my Pebble Dash was it had like it was like brown, but it had like orange and white stones on it. So, you know, you're like,
like when your house had eaten corn.
It was so rank. It was so rank. So we painted an underlayer of white, but I literally just, the only thing you could do was like stick a brush in the paint and just like jab it on. Just like one jab back in, because it just like soaks it. Yeah. And rocks would fall off when you were painting them, like the thing was coming down.
Yeah.
But it's done now. It's done. And I'm hoping it's going to kickstart the rest of the street to all paint their houses. That's what I'm hoping.
Was everyone positive on your street? Was everyone positive on your street, or did anyone come out and go, what are you doing now?
No, I've met so many of my neighbours. So there's two reactions. People will walk past and be like, oh my God, love it. So bold. It's bright pink. Or people walk past and go, wow, that's pink. And you go, okay, they're the ones who did this shit. And like, everyone's super like, a pink house. And I go, correct. Yeah.
Well done. You have eyes. And a healthy colour.
Yeah. People either love it or they're like, that is pink.
I love how you're like, okay, I'm doing it anyway. You know, I probably would have as well. I wouldn't. I wonder if I.
But you know how like, what's the street in Roath where it's like, it's not in Roath, it's in Splot, but everyone's painted their house a bright colour.
Yeah.
And like, this is so boring money talk now, but it's so cheap to paint the front of a house. And if everyone painted their house a nice colour, the collective price of the street, like the property price, goes way up. It's like 40 quid to paint a house, and you can add like 4 or 5 grand easy in value.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm off to B&Q.
I know, right? But some people have come up on the street and they've been like, we might start painting ours a bright colour. So if it was a street full of bright colours, like Balamori.
I was just about waiting for somebody to mention Balamori.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's what I want. I want a Balamori street. Yeah. Get some nice bright colours.
Have any of you been to Portmeirion?
To where?
Portmeirion.
No.
Yes.
I've driven past.
So,
Carnarvon. I drove past it.
A very rich guy that was in the olden days where you could just be, you know, what's your job? Rich. Right. He'd get an allowance off his family, and he lived in the little place. And if you sort of went around the corner, and you'll know this if you've been to Portmeirion, you go to like the car park and you can't see anything, literally cannot see anything. You have to sort of go down and round, and then you can see what he's done. And every time he'd get his allowance, as soon as he got his allowance, he'd build another little cottage. He wanted to make a sort of Florence, Italian, little kooky, colourful Italian village, but he did it sort of on the sly, cottage by cottage, and he never got planning permission for any of it. Because the one thing, we may not have had women's rights, and we may have had slavery and all the sorts, but we did have planning permission. We've always made sure as the country we've got the right things in place first. And every time he got more money, and when he passed away, they made it that all the places are it's listed. It's gone from no planning permission to going to be listed instantly. So you can live on, you go there on holiday, but you couldn't live there. There's only 1 or 2 residents left there. But it's just beautiful. I was running a festival there, and so working on a festival at Portmeirion, and people would come and deliver stuff, and I'd be like, have you seen? They're like, nah, it's all right, look, I've got long. I was like, just go around that corner. And they were like, no, honestly, I've got a crack on, mate. And I was like, I'm not signing your paperwork until you go around that corner. And they come in like, like, yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He's even got stonework from like Westminster Abbey. He'd like all over the country. If he knew anybody was taking down something, he'd salvage from all the country houses all around the UK. It's absolutely, I recommend it, definitely.
Well, I knew about Portmeirion.
Yeah, the prisoner.
And they sell crockery. The Portmeirion crockery. Because my next door neighbour had egg coddle set from Portmeirion. How do you do?
Not a fan of Portmeirion. Is it in water and in the oven or something in it?
You put butter in the curdle, and I think you just put the egg in the curdle. You might have water in it as well. It's in like an egg-shaped pot, and then you put it in the oven, kind of bake it a little bit. I don't get why anyone would bother when you can just boil an egg, but
boil it for 3 minutes, mate.
Yeah,
exactly.
3 minutes in boiling water, or 4 minutes in
baked egg. So you'd crack the shell.
Yeah. You just pour the egg into this china thing it was like an egg cup, a bigger egg cup, but with a silver thing on the top. And then you put the egg, you butter it, pour the egg in, screw the silver thing on, and there were 4 of them. And then and then you put that in a pan of boiling water. I think I could be wrong.
Never
Maybe
took
it's
off.
research for next time. Yeah, she's very proud of this.
They do love baked egg in America, but they'll put in sort of butter, cream, and cheese.
Stunning. I went to America for the first time last November. Well, I went to Hawaii, so it wasn't like America proper. But I discovered half and half. Game changer. Oh my God. Yeah. So they just have like cafes, and they go around with just like filter coffee. Coffee, yes, please. And on the table they have half and half, which is half full fat milk, half cream. Yeah. And that's just, you have to like request milk. That's just standard what you have in your coffee, and it is so delicious.
You love cream.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a good cup of tea, but it makes
a game changer. Coffee. Yeah,
it's so good. I've tried to make it here and I can't. So I'll get cream and I'll get full fat milk and I'll try and mix them for my morning coffee. But it just, it separates, and then the milk sort of the cream turns into oil. It's not how do you do it? Beautiful Americans.
Remember, it's a treat in America.
There was a supermarket in America I went into, and everything just seems like it's just on steroids and brighter, like the whole world. Like you go in, and the milk aisle was literally the length of a terrace of houses, and it was like 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%. Like we've got blue, red, and green, and if you fancy gold,
plant milk.
Oh, yeah. But this is not even including the non-dairy. This was how many choices of dairy there was to choose from. And you just stand there going, how the fuck do you choose anything in the morning?
Yeah.
There's too much choice.
One thing I'm really jealous of Americans for is Whole Foods. I'm on the whole food plant-based food. That's how I eat, vegan-ish. And on the American YouTubes, they're always doing these hauls, these like food hauls. Like I got from Trader Joe's and from Whole Foods, and they have these big. Over here, you might have like quite a small pack of veg or a small pack of frozen fruit. Over there, they're just massive sacks, and I'm like, that's brilliant because you can go shopping like once a month or once every 6 weeks or something. So bloody weekly, like we're having to over here. And and they have all different types of potato, which is important if you're not eating much in the way of just eating veg. I'm like, I'd quite like to try different types of potatoes.
There's a Whole Foods in London, and it was so impressive that when I used to live in London, when people would come and visit me, they'd be like, "Where are we going? Like British Museum?" I'll be like, "Nah, mate, I'm taking you to Whole Foods," and it will blow your mind. It was amazing. They would I swear they had like artists to like put the fruit and veg and like design it. It was so good. I could spend a weekend there.
I didn't know there was a Whole Food in. I'm going to go to London specifically.
There's a couple.
To go and see the Whole Food.
There's like 3 or 4, but the most impressive one is on Kensington High Street, and it's got like 5 levels, and the top one is all restaurants, and it's in this Art Deco building. And you walk in, the entrance is the bakery, and they just have like bites of everything. You can just make your way around a full loaf of bread if you're sneaky about it.
I'm going there next week.
Yeah. Oh my God,
pandemic! I need to go and see me some Whole Foods.
I fully recommend it.
What was that?
High Street Kensington Whole Foods. Don't go to the Tate.
There.
Don't be bothering with the National Theatre.
It'll always be there, isn't it? Well, unless
Fuck the globe. Get the Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. Before they all close down.
Yeah, get in there, get the tasters. You can go in hungry and come out a full woman without spending a penny.
Oh, that sounds like, well, apart from, of course, the cost to get to actual London.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So worth it. Yeah.
We have a lot of county shows here, and we have the food hall, and you've just got to play it smart, and you can get the free samples from each food stall, and then you can't do not buy food immediately. You have to work your way up the entire hall back to see who's getting your money.
It's a clever way to do it, guys. I think I have to go because I've got a Welsh language gig.
Thank you so much.
I just asked, is the Welsh language gig at 8 or is it at 9?
I heard you talking about that, saying that I would be able to give you an answer. I think it's at 8 because they want me to come on and do tech in like 5 minutes. So I'm guessing 8.
Ooh.
9 p.m.
Thank you so much for coming on and staying so long with us, Eleri. We'd love to have you back sometime. Thank you.
Yeah, please. It was just lovely chatting. I sort of forgot.
It's 8 o'clock.
I gotta go.
All
right. It's 8 o'clock. Whatever. Yeah. Right, I gotta go.
Text us if you want to say anything. Okay, thanks.
No, bye. Bye.
Now press the red button.
Press the red button. Yeah. Oh, bless her. How brilliant. She's lush, isn't she? This is the moment. She's lovely. Well, after a shit week that we've had, that Eleri is just the person to hang out with, isn't she? So lovely. Yes. Thank you, Eleri. Thanks for coming on. Right. Is it review time?
Yes, I'm just typing the banner up to have it.
Oh, cool. I'm going to have a sip of water.
I've got fancy this week, babe. I've got fancy. If I was able to have a little bit more brain power this week, I would have been even fancier. But I mean, the two of us have been working on sort of a half put-out camera.
Yeah.
A put-out candle, sorry. 2 Ronnies, the worm that turned. Now, for me, I knew of it beforehand.
Yeah.
So I loved the fact that you hadn't even heard of it. And I think that for a comedy review, that excited me so much.
Right.
So what exactly did you think when you grew up and you got taken to Barbara Castle?
Oh my God. Right. So I've made notes. When I first started watching it, I'm like, do you know what? Because the 2 Ronnies was a program that we would have watched as a family when I was growing up. So I remembered the, and I would have been really young, about 7 or 8 maybe around that time. And I remember seeing because this would have been an insert as part of their normal show, would it? It wouldn't have been a show on its own.
It was an 8-part.
Yeah. That was towards the end of their run, I think. I think they were not long this world after. I think it was more towards the end. I think they're amazing writers, and it was chock full of one-liners. Somehow it manages to be both feminist and sexist at the same time. Like, it's bizarre. I was like watching it going, this is great, because at the time everyone would have been like, oh my God, this is hilarious, how crazy is this? But now by today's time, I'm like, some of it has not aged well, the men in dresses, which are hilarious. And I wrote a sketch to do with the suffragette movement, to do with Emily Pankhurst getting under a horse, and it's on YouTube, and it was like an homage to Monty Python, because I love Terry Jones in a dress, and I had 2 blokes play 2 of the main women, and they had beards, and they were just in a dress, massive lipstick. If I was to write that today, I'd be like, can't do that today. And this is like 5 years later. So, but to have these guys we're just gonna. It is literally one of the 2 Ronnies, or the 2 Ronnies in a dress called Barbara, and it does make me laugh. It does make me laugh. It's like, time your husband, Barbara, to was it that one? And highlights how male everything is. Like how they're all like, this is just crazy, women in power, and you know, and the army. Like, why are they in hot pants? If there was an army of men, they would not have been in hot pants. Freaking bizarre. And I was reading the comments because I watched all on YouTube. Of course, Diana Dawes, massive icon. It's lovely to see her.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I don't think I've seen her as an adult. She was on telly quite a lot. I'm sure, maybe not Kenny Everett show, but that's one we could review, Kenny Everett show at some point. But oh my god, yeah, I was just like, it felt like this is a capsule of its time. Amazing, funny one-liner jokes. Amazing that they put it on, because I think this would have been quite, I don't know, forward thinking. I don't know, but it would have been. It didn't feel like a usual two Ronnies thing to me, anyway. So I don't know. The jury's out. I'm halfway through it. I'll have to finish it. I can't say that I'm sat there peeing myself. I'm not, because it's just too much going on for me. I'm just like, oh my god, this is amazing from a feminist perspective. But it is an amazing, what a great capsule of its time, very much. What's your take on it?
For me, I think that when they must have been doing the can we get away with this? I think they may have said, oh, don't worry, the women will be in hot pants, because it was of that generation. I think it was the hot pants that, you know, yes, I mean, I know that we'll be saying that women in charge, but don't worry, we will be, we will be subjecting them to, wedgies, latex wedgies.
But it just filmed in the middle of winter, didn't it?
Do you remember how we said with Rhoda, they had to raise the sexist characters in order to break them down? And I think secretly this must have been so progressive of the two Ronnies. Yeah. You don't watch it and think, oh, for fuck's sake, these guys are taking the piss. There's heart to it. You know that there's nothing wrong with the world run by women. But they probably had to steer that ship past the boys in the BBC or the boys in ITV to get, the suits that ran everything, just basically white old men in suits that ran all of the programming. I mean, look at the sets. They looked very tidy. I'm just saying, if the women were in charge. I bet the bin collections weren't they? But it sort of highlighted how, I don't know, the lack of toxic masculinity wasn't actually negative. I mean, yes, they were unhappy being the ones wearing the dresses, but it was only about the fact that they were made to do the housework. They weren't subjugated to sexual harassment or anything like that. Yeah. I think it was almost the two Ronnies' love letter to women.
Right.
That's how I feel about it. And oh, you go.
I mean, sexual harassment side, though, wasn't one of them put over Diana Dawes' knees and smacked on his bottom?
But who wouldn't want to be smacked by Diana Dawes? That was his payment. That was his payment. There was, I don't know, I felt like it was a role reversal, but it wasn't done in a way that women were ridiculed.
No, that's
it was
true.
about
men.
Like,
how stupid are they? They were in fear of the women. Yeah.
It was more about men being taken down a peg than women being made into tyrants. That's how I kind of where they did it, and that they had to have those secret meetings to watch those very masculine films and stuff. But it wasn't like they went, was
it on Twitch?
On Twitch, we got a blocked. Ray's
get on there. I'm on it, Ray. Probably
So I genuinely felt it was, yes, I suppose when you look at, and this is when people go and talk about maybe Islamic religions and stuff, and how they say about the dress that women are put in to control them. So they've said putting men into the dresses was the power play, because the women are in charge. They got to wear the trousers, and if you're wearing trousers, you can run away quicker and do things. That's the whole point of why women had 17 layers and hoops. They weren't meant to stand. They weren't meant to do anything but stand and sew. That's why they could wear whalebone corsets. I even liked the idea of the dresses being changed and the names being changed. But when I was driving a tipper truck to our American audience, a dump truck to our Nigerian fans, I don't know what you fucking call it, and so with that, I would turn up and guys would literally be like, "Oh, woman driver." And these guys would be in their sort of 60s, 70s, 80s, like proper farmers that have been taken from a time capsule of a world that, you know, doesn't exist anymore. And they'd be like, "Oh, you don't often see a maid driving a truck, do you?" And I would just say to them, "Have you seen The Worm That Turned?" "Oh, I loved it." And I went, "It did." and they would accept that, and they would giggle, and it was an icebreaker. Instead of me going, "Excuse me, why can't a woman drive a truck?"
Yeah.
If I referred to The Worm Turned with the two Ronnies, it made them realise that the women could be in charge, and they accept that was what they needed to do to accept the situation they were in.
You know what, as well, I can't remember the interview or whatever, but there is a thing where society can't imagine, if it's never been, we can't imagine it.
Yeah.
If you've never had a woman in charge, like there's never been a female president of the United States, they have recently, so that's why it's important that you have fictional shows. Like they did have a fictional show where there was a female president.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. Fictional show where there was, you know, female vice president. We've got to have these fictional shows with women in charge, because then people will be like, "Oh yeah, it can happen." So in that respect, the two Ronnies is really ahead of its time to go, yeah, we're going to have like women in that in The Women That Turned. The women are in charge of everything. You know, it is like, oh, let's think of to the absolute extreme how women could be in charge. They do think of absolutely everything, really. So, but yeah, like you say, they must have had the hot pants on for the execs, because, you know, if we were in charge, we'd absolutely not be wearing hot pants here than everywhere. But also the when I read the comments, and some of the comments are recent. It's like, oh, misogynists get a free play to have the comments on YouTube and just to go,
I googled
finally, this is hilarious, isn't it? You know, finally my kind of comedy. And you're like, oh,
well, the British comedy website, the big British comedy website, like the proper big shiny, they should know better, had it posted on there, and there was misogynistic comments on there, which, you know, quite frankly, sort your garden out, British comedy. You know, you should have a little bit of standards. But the fact is, when you watch it, the first thing, like I remember watching it thinking, how the fuck did they get this through? Because yes, from the instant it looked misogynistic, because it's from the 70s. Of course there's going to be innuendo and sexy shots, and even even at the end when the the military police, they were still in very attractive onesuits, you know, with very nice tapered waists. It's you have to I forgave that, because it was the 70s. I completely that to me wasn't the important message. The important message was, everyone goes, "Oh, can you imagine if they did a series where women were in charge?" We've already got one. The two Ronnies did it. And you know, and you can't get more respect if two people that were just brand new. Remember how I've said before to you privately how I've got jokes that probably wouldn't be suited for somebody that's new, but once you get to godlike status, like, you know, the Gervaises and the Boyles, then you can do that kind of material. But you can't when you're first starting out. You do have to control your writing a little bit. And the two Ronnies, for them to be at that stage in their careers, to have gone, right, we're going to do a set and it's going to be about women being in charge, and that they did it, and I think they did it really well. There was enough comedy in there to make sure it was still a comedy. Barbara Castle and burying the tapes, and, you know, little things like that. But I just thought, wow, I didn't take it as a dig at women. If anything, the two Ronnies made it a dig at men, saying, so men are in charge and women aren't. All right, well, they made it the other way round, and men couldn't cope. So women can cope being here, being underlings, and they could cope being on top. Men are usually on top, and they became the underlings, and they had to have a revolution because they couldn't fucking cope. And it just looks like I felt like it was more of a love letter to women than you have to see through the 70s. I mean, yes, that even in one of the episodes where they escape to Wales, and the two Ronnie Corbett says, I can't do a Welsh accent. It comes across as Pakistani. And he was like, well, just don't speak. And then they got questions, and he came across with a Pakistani accent. And again, it wasn't racist. He wasn't being racist to Pakistanis. He was laughing at the fact that every time he tries to do a Welsh accent, it comes across as Pakistani. And she was like, well, you don't look Pakistani. And they were like, oh, well, I mean, you know, it was his grandfather. And even though it could have been the 70s where they were like, they used cheap and crude and nasty and words that wouldn't be allowed now, they still managed to swerve it. It was I think it was brilliant.
Okay, cool. The way my brain works, I'll have to watch the whole thing, and then I'll probably need 6 months to think about it.
Yeah.
But it was a great choice. Thank you. The one thing it made me think of by today is, like, you know, that woman comedian that does the TikToks with Donald Trump, and she's just saying his words. It's his voice, and she's lip syncing, and it made me think of that.
Yeah,
it's like, in a weird way, it's like, you know, the men, if they was to be in this world, to me, it just highlighted how crazy our world is. The fact that men,
when you watch that woman, and
crazy.
I can't remember what ethnicity of that woman is, but it's such a perfect juxtaposition again, being she couldn't be more non-Trump. And to hear the words come out of her mouth, you think, well, she would never say anything as stupid as that.
Yeah.
And that's the comedy of it. And the fact is, women have been not in charge, and in this, women can be in charge, and we manage to do well at both times.
I think women, I'm all for equality. I know we were chatting about something privately the other day, and you said, as a joke, spit a little winky face on, then, oh, you're all for the guys there. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm all for peace. But later I was like, no, I'm for equality. And I think one of our early people, Sam, went, oh, bring on the misandry, which is man-hating. And I'm like, I don't hate men. I know you don't hate men. It's just equality. We're so far away from equality. It drives me insane. And especially when I first went into comedy, it was like, that's how aware of inequality that we have, you know. And I'm all very much for, like, oh, maybe it's this, as you know, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, you know. I do explain away people's behavior way too much now. As the older you get and the more you see it, you're like, oh no, it's not that there are so few women CEOs, there are so few women MPs. It's not that, oh, guys can do it better, or, you know, there's not enough women go in for these roles. It is just we're being held down. We are literally being oppressed, and it just drives me. I just get so tired of it. And I'm not even in the front line. I'm not even someone who's putting a head above the parapet constantly going, excuse me. The one time I did it, I got massively bullied for it. It was just like, oh my God, this is just... Anyway, I just get exhausted. And also, I was new to kind of feminism about 10 years ago. So it's amazing I can even string two words together to do with feminism now. Because in the past, I'd be like... it just drives me insane. But yeah, excellent choice, Lucy. Thank you so much. Well done. I love that you're bringing up all these quite challenging ones, I think, whereas I've just gone, I like this one. I haven't thought about it too much.
If you want old, challenging humour, you've come to the annals. I've said this to you before, but I love the fact that when I was on the comedy course with people that were mixed aged, but only one or two were maybe older than me. A lot of them were younger, and they'd mention a comedian, and I'd mention a comedian that was, say, 30, 40 years before that were doing the shtick first, and they hadn't heard of any of them. And it was almost, and it was naivety, which I or is it ignorance? But I just think if you're going to be into comedy, like Kyle, he's mentioned how he loved the Ronnie Corbett book and how he learned so much from it. Like, I think there are some people that want to learn more about it, and like Eleri said, can you learn comedy? Well, I do think that you can absorb a lot of information, and then you can choose to use that information how you want. What linking part I was sent? Fern Brady. There's a lot of Ian just put message for our listeners. Total tangent, but did you see Fern Brady's tweeting a TikTok video of a woman lip syncing part of a set? Now on TikTok, it was meant to be a lip syncing music app. I have recently become a TikToker.
Congratulations!
I know. I did my first lip sync video today. And I have to say, yes, I have to say the first 10 seconds was fine, but I gave up after the. And I was like, oh.
It scared me. I TikTok on my phone. I've taken it off my phone. I've taken Twitter, Facebook, everything's off my phone because I'm like, you know what? I need to concentrate on my TEFL qualification, and I need to give my brain a break. To be honest, it's all getting on my pip. To be honest,
and it's like I'm not doing it for comedy. I'm just doing just joining in the trends because it's actually. It's fun, and whereas I said I'm too old for it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know whether it's my analytics, but I never get. I never get any kids. There's nobody under the age of 30 that comes up on my page.
Oh, I do, but no, I love. There's older guys on there. There's old people. There's they're calling themselves boomers and saying about. Millennials say this. I like seeing. I had to go onto my Instagram and seek out people over the age of 50 because I'm sick of this only seeing 18 to 25-year-olds or 18 to 35-year-olds. I want to see some positive people my age and older because I'm getting older and I want to feel positive about it. And that's what I like about TikTok. There's lots of older people on it, and it's really good fun.
With TikTok, so there'll be like a famous saying. So like there's one. It sounds like almost Marlene Dietrich saying it, going, "People are just like slinkies. They're only serving their purpose when you push them down the stairs." And you voice it, and I did another one the other day. But there's a lot of people, like there's one woman who's really famous for doing Sarah Millican.
Oh, really?
And there's one woman that I saw, she did a kitty, Patricia Routledge, which, is my shrine, my altar. One day I will be even close. And I'm fascinated by them. I am watching them. But I think as a comedian, I can never voice over another comedian's set. I can do, like this one guy, the one I did this morning was this really hot guy. He looks like an Australian surfer. Right. And his hair's all over the place. And he said, do you ever wake up in the morning and your hair looks really shit and then you realise you're over 30 and you're doing a TikTok video, so you've got other problems going on? And I did that this morning because I can do that. That's just a funny line, but I could never. I mean, people are doing Victoria Wood, people are doing Patricia Routledge, they're doing Sarah Millican. I can't bring myself to put their words in my mouth because I don't deserve it.
One thing I will say is there's one of them is this makeup woman, this woman who's like, she's got a funny voice, and loads of them were doing this woman.
The contour.
Who is that? Contour. I can't. And I was like, who is this? And in the end, I loved it so much. I sought out who that person is.
Did you find out who it was?
Yeah, Sailor J or something. I'll message you with it. She basically had 2 years ago. For about a week, she did all of these videos because it was Pride Week, and it was to highlight Pride and highlight, women's issues and things like that. And she's been just sarcastic. She didn't expect it to kick off the way it did, but I wouldn't never have been aware of her if it wasn't for TikTok. And
she sounds like the woman that does Catwoman. She's got a very voice like this, and she's like.
TikTokian that to me she's copying her in her own words, but
don't let the men know that we can shape shift. Get rid of your nostrils. Men don't want to know you have nostrils.
That's the one. That's the one. And it's
as long as you look like a baby.
Yeah. It's so funny. Unfortunately, and I'm like, I want to binge everything this woman does, but it was just a flash of lightning from 2 years ago. She's got a few videos on there. She's an actress, and she's gone on and said, look, this is just something I was raising awareness, and I think she got this inspiration, and then it went, and she was like, I was not expecting anyone to watch it. And I think now TikTok has like raised it, because she's got on her YouTube thing that I do not agree to this. They've stolen this TikTok, and they've stolen my, this is without my agreement.
You're stealing their voices.
But on the other hand, I mean, on one hand, I'm like, I'm not keen on that lip syncing comedians, but then, maybe it's getting them out there. Maybe there are people out there going, I love this Victoria Wood. Who's she?
There's one woman who doesn't appear to, or doesn't come across as a comedian. She's just a housewife, a mother, and she plays that, I'm a housewife, I'm a mother. She doesn't play anything other than that. And she gets lip synced a lot because she's just so fucking funny. People that aren't comedians that should be.
Yeah.
Bastard.
She probably will do. If she gets famous, that's the thing. It's a way of bringing. Anyone can do whatever they want. In that Black Mirror episode, about half of it.
I don't do Black Mirror. That's Charlie Brooker, isn't it? Or is it Philip King?
Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker makes me literally. I can't even look at his face. He just winds me up.
No way! I love Charlie Brooker's stuff.
And that's annoying because I love his wife so much. I don't see why she's with him.
He's another one of my weird crushes. I think he's brilliant. Oh, Charlie Brooker.
I'll go as far as
notes of people we can review.
But I'm not a big fan of Boyle, Lee, Stuart Lee. I'm not a big fan of Charlie Brooker. There's something about those maybe aggressive male kind of thing that I just think.
Have you seen Bridget Christie?
Love Bridget Christie. See, another one.
She's my favourite, but she's married to Stuart Lee, so
yeah, I know.
It can't be that bad. We're both like, what's happening?
Okay, I saw one TikTok young woman who put up a video that was supposed to be spending eyelashes. But most of the commentary was about the brutalization of the Uyghur population in China. It was on the John Oliver show. There's, the LGBTQ community on there. There's a couple of lesbians that I'm following, and in a non-stalky way. They ask for the follows.
They ask for the follows.
And it's just amazing to see the kind of shit that they get sent.
No, really.
So there's one girl. She's goofy. She doesn't have. Let's play stereotypes. So she doesn't look like a butch lesbian. She looks just like a feminine woman. And then she's like, "Darling, come over here. I've got another comment." And the woman does have the short hair. Us are alphas because neither of us are werewolves.
Oh, I'm so fed up of how judgmental people are in society. She says, having just reviewed a load of comedy. But
then there's the half. There's this one guy. He's probably early 20s, and he's got a Down syndrome brother.
Oh.
And they are each other's worlds. And he gets they're always playing and stuff like that. And he'll be pushing his younger brother's buttons, like, we're in an argument, aren't we? And he's like, yeah, we're in an argument. And they'd be like, what are we fighting about? And he's like, push me in the pool. And he'll be like, tell them what you did. And then he just looks at the guy and he goes, Nicky, 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 right? And that means like, you can't hate me because I'm so cute. And the big brother always kisses him on the nose when he gets too close. He's trying to wind him up and he's going, oh, I'm annoying you. And he always pecks him on the nose. And you're just like, sorry, 1 second, there's just something in my eye. I could do this. But there's some lovely things on there. And I suppose I didn't see anything more than the media sent out, that it's teenagers doing stupid things. And actually, it's women like us doing these young, stupid things. So it's
like for young people. It could be for anyone, isn't it?
It seems to be the revolution now is that the younger kids are being pushed out because with Twitter, this one woman did a really good rant. We'll wrap it up for really quickly, but she went right with Facebook. Everyone does has a go at you with Twitter. Everyone has a go at you with Instagram. Like you get they have a go at you. She went, by the way, as the older people, we're taking over TikTok because it's silly.
Yeah.
And all the other social medias are boring and gloomy, and you can't say this and you can't say that. And on TikTok, it's just because that's all we need right now. We do not need. We don't need I think was it Ray or Kyle mentioned that Imagine Twitter did that global song at the beginning of lockdown.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
Bloody Gaga was crying in a 17-acre mansion, going, "Just smile," and it's like,
fuck off,
mate. What I want is there's this one girl, and she's doing a voiceover to Kevin Bridges. This woman is doing a Kevin Bridges voiceover. Her son is there, and she's going, and it's something like, "You're pointing at her son." Who's like, and he goes, you know that when he turns pages in a book, he licks his finger. What a prick! And she's just pointing at her son, and you're just like,
yes. I found TikTok. It's a bit like YouTube on steroids. Like YouTube, you'll have a 15-minute video, and all you want is some friggin' vegan recipe. But the first 10 minutes is some woman giving you a life story about how she lost 70 pounds, and then she goes, "Oh, by the way, this is the recipe." I'm like,
skip to the end, Sheila.
Time for that with TikTok. Great. They're like, you have it.
But there's people on there that are doing really good stretches, but they're literally 60 seconds. There's what I'm trying out at the moment. And it is just like, what do I really need to know about something?
It's essence, isn't it?
It's the essence. And it's even like those people that make mug sponges and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always look at them and I think, I can't even listen to these cakes.
By the way.
Mug sponges. They're like, they're microwave cakes.
Yeah.
Fit in 60 seconds. That's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
It's
my mung bean
little video about, and I think a lot of people in lockdown have found seeds or food that pass their sell-by date whilst in lockdown and gone, is this the man telling me to buy more stuff, or does this, is it off? Your mung beans worked, but you said in the video, "I'm not going to eat them."
I said I didn't know if I was going to eat them. I did eat them. Yes, they just took longer to grow. And I think I put too many in the pan, so they were all on top of each other. They came out quite spindly and stuff, but then I left it another couple of days because I kind of forgot about them. And then when I went back, I went, "Oh my God,
you need to change your video. You need to edit it and say, I did eat them."
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, Sarah, they look like they've been raised and discarded."
Oh, I should have asked what you thought. I thought, this is boring. It wasn't funny. And I didn't intend it to be funny. I was just like having a go. Oh, thank you.
Oh my God, no, you won't be able to watch it.
No, Larry.
No, not because of Larry, but Bruno is in it.
Cat's in it. No, it's not. Bruno's not in it.
Who's purring in it?
That's a black and white cat. Bruno barely purred. He wasn't a
purr. Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah, the black. I know we're gonna go.
Right, we're gonna go. But in a minute. We haven't seen each other before. Like, guys, keep up.
The black and white cat. I've got to accept she's not my cat. She comes in the garden. That sounds rude. She doesn't come in the house anymore, except when she's sweet, and she doesn't come in the living room at all unless I carry her in, sit her on my lap, and then she'll stay there for a bit and have a good old purr. She's not comfortable in the house at all. So I've just got to accept that she's not my cat. She's a cat that I happen to feed. And I think she's just going around all the houses and getting food everywhere, really. So I'm like, it won't be long. Give it a year. I'll be getting myself more cats, I think. Because the house is so quiet without them. It's just so weird.
Tilly would just pop round the corner, and she had this thing where she had like just laser sight. You're there, she's here, and she'd lower her shoulders like Bagheera in Jungle Book and walk. And just as she gets to you, she'd go around you and then sit on your shoulder. She couldn't come you straight. She had to come. She like you knew that you were in trouble. She was coming at you, and at the last minute, just like the other way. And I can't stop staring at the corner of the door where she's meant to go. Anyway, we went.
Yeah.
Right.
Moving on.
So next week we are going to be reviewing Mach bibliography.
Yeah.
That's him. I think I did accidentally, because there were 3 on Netflix, and I put on the kitchen sink that we were going to be doing the one called The New One, but I'll make sure I change it to say it's my boyfriend's.
Yeah, it is good, but it's not. It's more of a play than in. There's the one jokes about God or something. Thank God for jokes. It's one of them, and it's my boy. Now I'm getting remorse now. I'm getting suggestions, remorse. You know when you're like, I love it, and I think
I did try the new one. Maybe that's because I got confused about which one I knew who we were doing, but I got the which one we were doing confused, and it was during the difficult part of last week. And I was just like, well, this is just a white guy talking.
It will still be a white guy talking. Think in terms of like storytelling, and in terms of me.
Well, I immediately stopped. I realised I was not in the receive position, and I didn't want to sully the show with the fact that nothing can ever be funny again.
Give them a chance now, because bless them, men do need. There's not many male comedians. They do need a chance. Give it a go.
We try and have as many on the show as possible so that we can give them some forum.
And then actually, my girlfriend's boyfriend is the name of it. Yeah. And actually, we have got a male comedian on next week. So,
and he might do the curly girl method. You don't know.
You don't know. I had my hair. The reason why my hair is living in straight today is because, Lucy, I went and got my hair trimmed yesterday, and I don't know how. I went in going, I just want the ends off. I'm growing my hair. Please don't cut too short. He cut 2 inches off it. It was down here. Its back is still quite long-ish. I'm gutted. I'm so gutted. That's a year's worth of growth. It looks great. But she went, there we are.
Did it need it? Can you keep telling yourself it needed it?
No, not really. It could have lasted half an inch off. That's again all it needed. And I'm like, I'm so gutted. It looks. I can't be too gutted because it does look great and it looks really
lovely. But
it's a Rachel cut, isn't it? But I'm like, really?
Sarah, this is why I don't trust hairdressers, because I go in there with my long hair. They charge me 5 times more because I've got long hair, and then they cut it all fucking off. Or they cut a centimetre off, and I still walk out with fucking ends. I don't want to take too much off.
I was like 6 months away from having my dream hair is to have it here. That's what I want. I'm now 2 years away again from that. For that, it looks great and it feels really healthy. It might have needed it, but I'm like, oh man, why? I've got it. I'm never going to hairdressers again. No, Ray. Ray, you need to go.
We're going to wrap this up. Going to wrap this up because I've got a meeting with somebody to help with more stuff to do with the kitchen sink that I'll tell Sarah about in a minute.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining in. Sorry about that.
Thanks to everyone for joining in. We had quite a few viewers all the way through, and we're really grateful that you had the patience to put up with us being off for a week. And can I just take a second to say thank you to everybody that is listening on Spotify. We don't really promote the podcast, but we've hit over 120 listens now. We've got subscribers and stuff, and we really do get in touch with the show. You can always message us at the Sink Girls, THESINKGIRLS @gmail.com. You can get in touch with us on Twitter, the Sink Girls again, and our Facebook page is The Kitchen Sink, and you'll recognise the logo on our Facebook page is the same as on all the podcast apps, so you'll be able to find us that way. But thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And also, if you are listening, you enjoyed it, if you can give us some reviews on whatever you need to give reviews on for the podcast.
Yes, please do. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I think there's Podcast Addict. There's so many. If you're on Android or not, if you can just give us a review. And when I say give us a review, come on, hit us up with 5 stars. Don't be a bitch.
Like that 80s pop group, we like 5 stars.
We like 5 stars.
Also, if you could give us a follow on the kitchen sink. Last time I looked, it might be different now, but we are 2 away from that amazing big 5-0.
God, it's tantric, isn't it? Making it up.
I'll be quite anticlimactic getting over the 5-0, but we want to get there. So please.
Yeah, I will. I'll put a shout out because the YouTube chat shout out on WSI Plus was a couple of weeks ago, so I'll put another Twitch one and see if we can get over that hump. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Sinkers. We love you very much. We will see you next Thursday with Steph and Alan at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.